Okay, so I am back with another G.I. Joe classified figure, and this is the Alley Viper. I was lucky to find this at Target today. It was, I guess they just opened up a new case, and this was the only one of the new figures that was left. I think the other figures in this set would include the Bat, which would be the other new figure that's in this assortment. Hello, Kitty. And then they re-released Gung Ho in this assortment, which I saw plenty of Gung Ho left, but this was the only bat that I saw. I'm sorry, this was the only Alley Viper that I saw. I didn't see any bats. Kitty, you gotta stop nuzzling the laptop while I'm trying to shoot a video. She keeps doing this. So, okay, everybody look at the kitty. There we go. Now you got some attention. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll have a look at the artwork, which the back has, this familiar artwork we're used to. This is how I knew they were planning on making an Alley Viper, is if you look up here at the top, you can see the Alley Vipers in the artwork in the background. So I knew that they were planning on doing one, and I hoped that the line would get far enough that they actually would, and here my hopes are realized. Okay, Kitty, I'm going to pick you up, and I'll put you on the floor. You stay down there until I'm finished shooting this video. I don't want to be mean to the kitty, but I will have time to pay attention to her later. Right now, I'm in the middle of something. So let's see, let's get this open. And there's a little piece of tape at the bottom, so I cut that. I decided to open it at the bottom because at the top there's two pieces of tape. That's twice as much tape as I would have to cut otherwise. So save myself a little bit of effort there. Alright, we'll remove the little plastic tray, and we can see a little better the artwork that's in the back, and it's the standard Cobra emblem we're used to seeing with the villains on this line. And much like the original Alley Viper that was released in the 1980s, like the late 1980s, this is almost a 90s figure, you can probably tell. He comes with a lot of accessories, and in fact he comes with a lot more accessories than that original figure came with. He has this rifle, which that is a new rifle for him. And then he has this submachine gun, which this one is a little more like the one the original figure came with. So it's got this clip in the back and the grip in the front. And so he's got two decent guns. This one I think is a little more sort of realistic looking. And this one is just kind of a unique design that they came up with for the toy. So I guess you can display him with whichever one you want. Or you can have him dual wield even if you want to. He's got this visor, which seems to be made of a slightly translucent orange plastic. It's not one that you can see through entirely. Maybe you can even tell on the camera. It's just slightly translucent, kind of frosty orange. But the original Alley Viper, he came with a solid orange visor. So I don't think he could see through this one any better. I always figured there was maybe like infrared or like cameras built into it or something, and that's how you could see through it. So you got this backpack. Big, chunky, black backpack. It looks somewhat like the one the original figure had, but not exactly. We'll get to that in a minute as to what the difference is. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Proton Pack from Ghostbusters. It's kind of looks like that a little bit. And then we have two small knives. And these are pretty small knives, much smaller than the ones that came with other figures that come with knives. You see there's like a little loop on the side there. I don't know if that's so that like you can tie a string through it, or if it's just supposed to be part of the grip. So yeah, so there's the two of those. They look to be exactly the same. Got a sidearm, a pistol. This looks very similar to the type of pistols we've been seeing in G.I. Joe figures. Let me check real quick. I happen to have this one handy that came on Flint. Let's see if I can compare and see if they are the same pistol. And I believe they are. I believe that this is the same pistol that comes with Flint. So, there we go. So yeah, and that pistol comes in various colors with various other figures. So if you've got any G.I. Joe classified figures, chances are you already have this pistol. Maybe not in the same color, but Flint's actually is in the same color. So next we have this gun, and this isn't just any kind of gun. This is actually a grappling hook gun, and the grappling hook is over here to the side. So let's go ahead and we'll put the grappling hook into the launcher. See how that looks. And that seems like that's going to be a tight fit. It might be something where it only fits in there one way. Yeah, I got it in there, but it is a very tight fit. So be careful when you put it in that you don't bend it. But that's what that should look like when it's put together. Except I think I want to actually have it turned around the other way so that the two loops are on the same side. It doesn't seem to come with a rope to connect those together. I guess you got to supply that yourself. So get yourself like a nice thick piece of thread, maybe something like fishing line might work pretty well, and you can attach a rope to that. That might be why this round thing on the back here might supposed to be where the rope feeds from the backpack into the grappling hook, and then maybe he whizzes up the backpack when he climbs the building. Oh, we got one more accessory to get out of here, and that's this shield. And that's pretty neat because that looks a lot like the shield that came with the original figure. And it's got this cool strap on the back here. Seeing us strap that to his arm. And unlike the ones that come with various Captain America shields, it actually has like a little like a Lazy Susan kind of thing on the back here. It's articulated, so you can pose this shield however you want. And there's also more printing on the back where it's like a targeting kind of thing. So you can have him, I guess, looking through the shield at whatever he's targeting and shooting at it that way. So it looks like he's firing blind, but he's actually firing through the shield. So that's very clever. And then, last but not least, the Alley Viper himself. And he is very clearly based on the version 1 Alley Viper. I think that came out in 1989. And he's got a very orange costume. I don't know why an urban trooper would be wearing orange, but to me, it's just that's what color an Alley Viper is. So I don't care if it makes sense or not. That's what they're supposed to look like. I've seen more realistic designs or more sort of like urban looks to the character, where he'd be wearing like gray camouflage, maybe with like a little bit of blue or red in it. But to me, it doesn't really look as authentically like an Alley Viper if he's not wearing orange. So now that we have the figure out of the package and all of his many accessories, and now that the kitty is back, let's go ahead and gear him up, put all the accessories where they're supposed to go. And he's got a knife sheath right here on his armor. Let's see if the knife will actually fit in there, because I've had a hard time with some of these Hasbro knives. There we go, got that in there. And that's he had a knife sculpted into his chest like that on the original figure, and also one here on the forearm. Kitty, stop nuzzling the computer. So, and that also was kind of a tight fit. And since his hand's right there, it's kind of getting in the way. But I think I got it in there just fine. So there's the knife at the wrist, and the knife at the chest, and then we've got to put the pistol into the holster at the side. That fit in there just fine. And then the visor that snaps onto his helmet. These two little pegs on the side of his helmet, and he's got two little holes in the visor, and that fits on there perfectly. So there he's got the visor, and that snaps down. I'm a little disappointed that, like, as I remember, the design on the front of the visor is supposed to be a cobra emblem, but they made it just kind of like this weird sort of generic circle with lines through it kind of thing. I guess they figured they already had the cobra sigil on the helmet. They didn't need to put it on the visor too, but maybe you should have just left the visor blank then. I don't know. I like him best with the visor up anyway. So then let's see. We've got the backpack, and we've got these three guns. Now, of the three guns, could you stop messing with that? Now the cat's messing with my phone. Let's leave that alone. I'm gonna put you on the floor again. You're clawing at the couch because you don't want to go on the floor. I'll play with you later. So yeah, the grappling hook is supposed to go onto the backpack. And that's how the original toy was made. The original toy was made so that the grappling hook was just molded onto the backpack. But this is actually made in such a way where it's got a little peg that fits through the trigger guard, and you can see it has kind of like a cavity that it fits into pretty well. So I think what it is probably, this is how I'm reading it in the reality of the toy, the way that the rifle, the grappling hook gun, attaches into the backpack, there's probably this mechanism that actually pulls the trigger automatically. So like he's probably got a button built into his gun or something, and he can actually fire the grappling hook gun while it's on his backpack. It doesn't necessarily need to be in his hand to do it, but it is neat that you can now take the gun out of the backpack and put it in his hand. Now, one complaint that I've had about these figures is that I've always figured it was because the peg on the back is too small. It's actually about the same size as the backpack pegs from the 25th anniversary and on 4-inch figures. But this one seems to fit on there just fine. It doesn't seem to be loose or have too much gravity to it. Maybe they tightened it up a little bit. I don't know. But that's a good thing because, like, you know, some of these backpacks I was looking at, it was like, well, I don't necessarily need to have the backpack on Duke, so that's okay. You know, I don't necessarily need to have this backpack on Gung Ho or Snake Eyes or whatever, but with the Alley Viper, I definitely wanted to have the backpack with the grappling hook launcher on there because that's just classic Alley Viper. So let's see how well these guns fit in his hand. And I'm thinking this one's probably going to fit in there the best, the more traditional looking rifle rather than the more toy-like rifle. And the clip came out of the magazine came out of the gun like very easily. So be careful of that. I might want to wind up gluing that in. I'm not really one who's like a big fan of the removable magazines. It makes sense if you've got more than one. Like if they had several removable magazines that he could like keep in pouches on his uniform. I wonder if that's the same magazine that's on this gun. This one seems to be like much more firmly in there. It might not even be. I think it is removable because it wiggles a little bit. But they look like they might even be the same magazine. Which makes me again say they should have given it extra magazines so you could put them into empty pouches on the uniform. That would be kind of cool. But I don't really see much point in taking out a magazine if I can't replace it with another magazine. You know, like his magazine went empty and he pulls another one out of his, you know, out of his pouch on his vest, kind of thing. And this knife on the wrist is making it a little tricky for me to get a good grip on it. And like I've said before, one of the problems with these figures is also one of the best aspects of these figures is that, like, it's one of the good things about the G.I. Joe classified figures is they grip the rifles and guns really well. So once you get that in there, you're not gonna, you know, it's not gonna fall out easily. You know, it's gonna stay in there until you want to take it out. But the drawback is because it's such tight grip, you have a hard time getting the guns into the hands. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So yeah, he holds that really well. And I figure since I've got two guns here, I might as well just put this one into the other hand and have them dual wield. We'll keep the more realistic one in the right hand and put the more toy style gun into the left hand. So get in there. Yeah. I figured this one might be a little more difficult because it's got the clip back near the wrist. I kind of have to pull back his finger a little bit individually to get it into the trigger guard, but you can see that he holds that pretty well too. And if I had him holding just one of these guns, he could probably hold the grip in there pretty well too. So, let's go ahead and try it. We'll take the submachine gun out of the other hand. This rifle. So, I don't know. Whichever one you use as his signature gun is going to be up to you. But I kind of feel like, it is going to depend on whether you want him to look like the original toy or if you want to do like a more realistic version. I think they both have their merits. If I'm able to find another one of these, I'll probably display one with one gun and one with the other gun. That's probably what I would do. Like for now, I think I might wind up sticking with the other one just because I like the more realistic look. But there you see he can hold it with both hands with the grip there. I'd probably be having an easier time of it if I had to put it in his other hand because it's kind of bumping up against the knife sheath. But it still works pretty well, I think. So I'm going to take that one out of his hand now because I want to put this one back in the other hand because I'm going to put the shield on him now. And I definitely want to put the shield on this arm because I figure the knife sheath will cause some issues if I try to put it on that arm. So it should, this larger strap should slide over this hand. There we go. And I should be able to fit the smaller strap, the shorter strap, at least over this hand, if not all the way into it. I don't think I'm going to try to fit it all the way into it. And there we have him with the shield. Because he's Alley Viper's got to have a cool shield. So, and it's got the Cobra sigil sculpted on there. And I think that looks really cool. So, there we go. That's what he looks like, all geared up. With the grappling hook on the back, just like the way we remember. The armor is really cool. It's got all these pouches all over it. And, like some groin protection there. It's got the extra padding at the shoulder. Lots of pouches. The orange with the blue camouflage on there. Like I said, I don't know what the heck he's trying to hide from with that crazy color scheme, but it looks cool. So, it's definitely, it's classic Alley Viper. That's what you want an Alley Viper to look like. I know some people might prefer a more realistic look, but like I said, to me, Alley Vipers are orange. I don't care if it makes sense or not. So that's the Alley Viper from G.I. Joe Classified. Definitely gets a recommend from me, especially if you're a fan of the old Alley Viper figure. This is a great reproduction of that. Like it's takes the look of the classic Alley Viper and translates it into a more modern style, and but still keeps all the things that made the original so iconic. Look, he's got even the Cobra sigil sculpted onto his arm there. It's actually sculpted onto his arm. That's not just a tampograph. They actually sculpted it on there. He's got a Cobra sigil on his backpack. He's got Cobra all over the place. There is no doubt who this guy's allegiances lie with. Even the helmet has like the fangs on it that remind us of a Cobra. Especially with the visor popped up like that, and it even kind of suggests the fangs at the top. So it's really cool. So yeah, this is a really neat figure. I definitely give it a recommend. It gets a thumbs up. It would be cool to see this colored in a lot of the different color patterns that they put the Alley Viper in over the years. Like maybe a more realistic urban camo or, the crimson camo. Because, like some people are suckers for anything crimson in terms of Cobra because of the Crimson Guard. But yeah, I'm definitely glad we got the orange one first because that will certainly be my favorite. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment about the Alley Viper, what you think of this modern figure, what do you think of the vintage figure, what's your favorite version of the Alley Viper that Hasbro's produced over the years? Was the kitty too annoying? Was she getting in the way? Was she too distracting? I don't think she cares. She's a cat. She just wants what she wants. So, so anyway, that's it for this episode. We'll see you next time. Bye.